Sing in me, O Muse, and through me tell the story of that man skilled in all ways of contending. These are the opening lines of the epic Greek saga, the Odyssey. It tells of the poem's titular character, Odysseus, a Greek hero who was harried for years on end because he decided to throw shade at the ocean that one time. Odysseus and the Odyssey is the pinnacle of classical Greek literature. It has scary monsters, high adventure, femme fatales, lots of people getting eaten by giants. The Odyssey is just a fun time, and it is a great example of trickster energy throughout all cultures. I can't think of one culture that doesn't have some kind of a hero trickster like Odysseus. Whether it's Jizdu, the hare, in Cherokee tradition, Anansi, the spider, in African culture, Coyote, in many Native American traditions, or Raven, the hero of many Native Alaskan stories. Reynard the fox in England and Scotland, Prometheus in ancient Greek, and Robin Hood in the Merry Tales of England. These are all tricksters who, though very obnoxious and very precocious and pretentious in their ways, use their tricks and their wits and their superior cunning to help people. Every time I think of the trickster, I think of Coyote, my very favorite of all the trickster stories. Coyote features in many stories of the Plains Native American people. And Coyote was always up to trick. He was always up to trouble. And yes, he was the inspiration for Wile E. Coyote from Looney Tunes, one of my favorite cartoon characters of all time. And though Coyote was always up to trouble and tricks and mischief, he was using that to help the people. He does this many times. Coyote brings the buffalo. Coyote brings the sun. But my favorite is Coyote brings fire. Coyote knew the lightning people in the clouds were keeping the fire for themselves, selfishly. So he used his tricks to get it and give it to the shivering people and animals on the earth below. Also, Raven brings the sunlight. Raven, the hero of many Native Alaskan stories, was the one to get the sunlight, to go out and be brave, to think outside the box, unlike the other animals. And that is how she ultimately brought sunlight to the world. Now, there's some tricksters in different cultures, looking at you, Snake in the Garden of Eden, who are doing things through mischief to change things. But even the snake in the story of the Garden of Eden ultimately changed the status quo. He gave people the knowledge of right and wrong. Was the snake a guy or a girl? We're not sure. And I want to talk about my own trickster in my own life. My sister, who is a Gemini Mercury, who's probably the smartest and cutest of all the Smarty-pants and Cutie-pies. My sister, during my cancer treatments, during this past year and the past decade, was always the person there to drag me out of my funk when I got down in the dumps. I think about one particular night in this past year, and it was right after one of my final chemo treatments, and I was feeling like crap. I wanted to lie in bed, feel sorry for myself, and just wallow in my misery and pain. But my sister took me by the hand and she said, "Come on, we're going to go watch the moon rise." And damn it, we did it. And that is why you need Gemini friends. So this is Gemini season. It began around May 21st and it's going to last until around June 19th. Now, the Gemini is represented, the Gemini person with the Gemini zodiac sign is of course represented by the Gemini twins, as you may know. And these people kind of get a bad rap for having a, quote, dual personality. And many people see them as two-faced, as kind of deceivers. And I am here to say I am tired of all the Gemini hate. The Geminis in my life are some of the most good-hearted, open-hearted, kind-hearted people I have ever known. Are they kind of silly? Absolutely. Do they love to keep their cards close to their chest sometime when they don't necessarily trust a person? Again, absolutely. But when a Gemini earns your trust, and when you earn their trust and love and devotion, you will never find more devoted people in your life than a Gemini bestie. And today, we're going to talk about some of my favorite Gemini placement characters. And we're going to begin with my favorite Gemini man of all time, Mr. Walter Sergei Sigma Skinner from the X-Files. Now, I had the absolute pleasure of meeting Mitch Pileggi, who plays Mr. Skinner famously on the X-Files. I met him at FileFest in Minneapolis in 2003, and it was one of the greatest things of my life. Maybe one day I'll tell that story. It's actually very funny, but we're not going to get into that now. Yeah, so one thing about Skinner that I love is I call Gemini placements the undercover placements of the Zodiac, because unlike someone like Sagittarius or Cancer, who you will immediately notice that if they have that anywhere in their chart, you will immediately notice that. You will say like, oh, that's Sagittarius energy. Oh, that's Cancer energy. But Gemini, being Geminis, love to keep that shit under wraps. So that is one thing I noticed when I learned Mr. Skinner was a Gemini man. I was like, wow, really? And then I thought back, and I thought throughout the show, especially in season 1 and season 2 and season 3, you still weren't sure what side Skinner was on. Was he working with Smoking Man and the Syndicate? Was he on Mulder and Scully's side and later Doggett and Reyes' side? And he was constantly keeping that up until around season 3, when you were like, oh yeah, Skinner's our dad now. He's going to take care of all of us. And he had this surrogate father relationship with all 4 agents that worked the X-Files office, Mulder, Scully, Doggett, and Reyes. But even after that, Skinner was constantly jumping back and forth and using his influence to trick the Syndicate and therefore protect the agents he had come to know as his children. And I think that is an example of a healthy Gemini energy, a person using that superior intellect that their placement gives them to help the people they love and ultimately help everyone, the world, society. And that's how Geminis see things. They see things in the bigger picture, like Sagittarians and Aquarians, and they kind of have problems with the details. So the Geminis I know, like the Aries and the Sagittarians I know, they are some of the most philosophically intelligent people I know, but damn it, can they not fold laundry? But we love you, Geminis. We really love you. One thing I never noticed about Gemini, and this is just in my experience, the Gemini characters and people IRL that I know, the men tend to be bigger and like kind of beefier and like these bigger guys, and the lady Geminis tend to be more petite, dainty, that kind of thing. I know my sister's that way. Please comment and correct me if you know like a little, a smaller Gemini guy or a bigger Gemini gal. I'd like to know. That's just kind of what I see. And I don't necessarily believe in astrology like determining someone's appearance, but I have noticed that. And that leads me to another Gemini man I love, Cable, from the X-Men comics. Now, Cable has been portrayed in many ways, famously by Josh Brolin, who I love playing Cable in the Deadpool movies. And of course, he's this bigger guy. And Cable is another good example of a healthy Gemini man, using his time-traveling powers, like jumping back and forth between times and between dimensions, to, of course, be a hero and to help people. And, yeah, I'm writing a fic about Cable, and he is very much a kind of lighthearted trickster, more like Loki in the Thor comics. Some other Gemini, these are Gemini rising ladies, but again, this is for all Gemini placements. Gemini Sun, Gemini Moon, Gemini rising, Gemini Mars, Venus, Mercury, Jupiter. This is for all placements. And that is Dana Scully and Monica Reyes from the X-Files. They are both Gemini rising gals, and they are, Scully especially, kind of a daintier gal. Reyes being more on the slimmer, ethereal, beautiful side. They're both very elegant and graceful women. And Gemini rising ladies and guys are just smart. They are damn smart. The first time I watched The X-Files when I was an adolescent, I did not appreciate just how damn smart Scully and Reyes are. And yes, Scully is kind of more out there with her intellect, and that is her Cancer moon. But Reyes is also voraciously intelligent. I'm thinking of the episode Improbable, where she was just guessing the killer's movements before he made them. And Scully was also out in the show doing that, like really being precognitive, especially with the bad guys. Of course, Scully and Reyes are Pisces sun ladies, and Scully is a Cancer moon, highly psychic signs. But sometimes I wonder if it's their Gemini rising that really helps them predict what the bad guys are going to do, and how the bad guys and their whole deal, because Gemini people see through you. They see through your bullshit. And I really think that is what's coming out. Gemini people can also bullshit you. There's a reason they're smart. And that leads me to another Gemini lady, a Gemini sun lady I love. And that is Freddie Lounds from the Hannibal TV show. Now, I love Philip Seymour Hoffman and his portrayal of Freddie Lounds in Red Dragon. Red Dragon's one of my favorite movies of all time. But I think her name is Laura. She portrays Freddie Lounds in the Hannibal TV show, and she is fire. Another thing about Gemini ladies is they eat every damn look they put on their bodies. Freddie Lounds, like Dana Scully and Monica Reyes, did not wear a single outfit in that show that she did not rock. I just love to like rewatch Hannibal and see all of Freddie's outfits. They are so good. Also, Freddie, like, she's this little, like, reporter scurrying around, writing her tattle crime news. But at the end of the show, she is the last woman standing. And she escapes Hannibal's clutches so many times. She is so much like that cat with 9 lives. Me and my daughter love to watch the Hannibal TV show together. It's one of the things we bond over. And one thing my daughter said is, she made a joke and she said, maybe Freddie lives so long because Hannibal thought she just wouldn't taste that good. And I said, that is that Gemini look. Probably after Sagittarians, who just manifest luck through their goodwill and optimism. Geminis are some fucking lucky people, and I love them for that. Okay, so let's talk about some ships and some pairings of Gemini with other zodiac placements that I love. We are going to talk, of course, about my favorite Gemini pairing, and that is Gemini and Capricorn. And I talked last time about how I love Gemini and Taurus when I talked about Cable and Emma Frost. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about them. But the Capricorn is very earthy, very down to earth, very bare bones, give it to me straight. Capricorn is a lot like Aries in that way. And then you have Gemini jumping around, being like, oh, could it be this way? Could it be that way? Let's look outside the box. Let's look at the big picture. And Capricorn's like, no, I have to see the details. And all I see is Freddie Lounds and Will Graham. So I don't know who you ship Will Graham with in the show. He has many choices. Hannibal, first and foremost among them. But him and Freddie's chemistry is hilarious. They are always pushing each other's buttons. And every time I think of Capricorn and Gemini, I think about them. Another, Will Graham is Capricorn rising. Jack Crawford, his boss, is Capricorn's son. And him and Freddie have a hilarious relationship. And I don't know how you interpret it within the show. Many people could interpret them as having romantic overtones. I interpret it as him, like, looking at Freddie as this very obnoxious little sister that he somehow, for some reason, feels protective over. And it's just because she's so charming and cute. And I love that dynamic between Jack Crawford and Freddie Lounds in the show there, and in the movie with Harvey, I think Harvey Keitel is his name, who plays Jack Crawford in Red Dragon, and his and Freddie Lounds dynamic. But they're always funny together, and it's just Gemini Capricorn energy. I talked in the last video about Emma Frost from the X-Men comics and Cable from the X-Men comics. I don't think they were ever paired together officially. in the comics, but I'm writing a fic where they're together. And I love Taurus and Gemini. Of course, again, opposites attract. I love to see Gemini with Earth signs. I would love to see Gemini with Virgo as well. That would be a lot of fun. Okay, so we're wrapping it up. I hope y'all have a happy Gemini season. I'm off on a trip, and I will have a lot to tell you when I return. So I love you guys. Say a prayer for us or send good vibes. And have a happy Gemini season. We love you.